Grokbot is so powerful and so simple that using it is such a delight because anything you throw at it, it just does. The more I use it, the more I'm blown away by what it can do. So in this video, I'm going to show you 5 of the wildest ways I've been using Grokbot, plus how you can set up your own team of bots. A quick heads up before we get started. This video is sponsored by SpaceX AI, the company behind Grokbot. But this video is not a review. It's a deep dive into the bots that I use and how I set them up. So if that's cool with you, let's get into it. To get started, come over to x.ai/bot to download Grokbot for your desktop. When I first covered Grokbot on my channel, a lot of comments said the same thing. It looks great, but at $200 a month, it is way too expensive. Well, the team behind Grokbot listened because now it starts at just $20 a month. And if you're already on an eligible Cursor, SuperGrok, or Teams plan, Grokbot is included. After downloading the app for the first time, you'll want to set up your bots. You'll see all of mine over here on the left. We'll get to some of those in a moment, but first let me show you how to create your first bot. To do that, click on the top here where there's this plus icon and then select New Bot. That will open up a new thread and you can select at the top where it says Create New Bot. The first bot I suggest you set up is your Chief of Staff or Delegator bot. This is the bot that is going to be your main point of contact and will then delegate tasks to the other bots. What's cool about creating bots in Grokbot is that you set them up just by having a conversation. And you can see that already happening right here. The bot said hi to me and said, what do you actually want to use me for? And it gives me a few choices, or I can type in my own. I suggest you tell this first bot something like this. I want you to be my main point of contact. I'll send you tasks and then have you delegate them to the other bots. Next, you have to pick a name for your bot. And this is where I've had a lot of fun with my bots. You can see I've given each of them a unique name that represents what role they fill in my business and in my personal life. So my Chief of Staff or Delegator bot, I've named Chief. So you can steal that if you want, name it Chief, Chief of Staff, Delegator Debbie, something like that. For this example, I'm going to call this one Captain. If you have a favorite television show, book, or movie, you can name all of your bots after characters in that. What you can also do is give each of your bots a unique image. So the default images look like this. They're these blobs of color. And if you click on the name of your bot on the top, you'll see over here on the right your settings. So you can come in here and change the way that your bot looks. You can update its name and its description. But what I usually do is if I want to make any changes like that, I just tell the bot in the chat to make those changes. And if you'll notice over here on the left, all of my bots have actual images that represent who they are. So the way I did that was I just told the bot, create an image for yourself that represents who you are. And it's pretty fun watching them come up with an image for themselves that they think represents who they are. And there we go. There's Captain. And if you'll notice, it not only created the image, but it also updated its image over here. So that's its new avatar. And really, it's that simple. With a lot of other AI tools, you have to configure API keys, choose a model, and write system instructions. Grokbot eliminates all of that. You just describe the role, answer a few questions, and the bot is ready. Let's set up your other bots now so you can have a team of bots just like I do. As you're thinking about building out your team, you should be thinking of each of your bots as an employee with a specialized role. So every time you need help with contracts, for instance, you'll always use the same bot for that. And unlike a lot of other AI tools where you might have multiple threads that are related topics, with Grokbot, you always go to the same bot for the same topic or task. Like here with the contracts, I'm going to the same bot every time I needed to review a contract for me. It really feels like you're just messaging an employee on something like iMessage. So let me run you through some of my bots and what they can do. We'll start with Scribe. Scribe is in charge of my email inbox, but also a lot more than that. If you click on the name of your bot on the top, that will open up the right side panel where you can see their name and description. And you'll see here that I also give all of my bots a title. Scribe, I've given the title of email. That way, when I look at all the bots over here on the left, I not only see the name, but I can quickly see what their role is. Scribe is in charge of email. Prism is my designer, and Hemingway is my scripter. But returning back to the description over here, you see that Scribe is in charge of not only my inbox, but they also manage my entire content calendar to make sure I release all my YouTube videos on time, and they help me negotiate all of my brand deals. And all of that requires them to have access to a lot of third-party tools like Gmail, for instance. What's cool about that is that in order to give a bot access to a third-party tool, you just chat with it, and it will tell you if it needs access to a tool in order to do its job, and will walk you through setting up access. So when I first set up and used Scribe, I told it I wanted it to help me with my emails. And then it said, oh, we should connect up your Gmail. And it pulled up this card right here. I just had to click on it and it walked me through how to connect Gmail with Grok Bot so Scribe could then have access to my email inbox. Anyway, that's Scribe. And actually, I rarely message Scribe directly because she works on a routine. A few times a day, she checks my inbox, researches the companies that have reached out to me, compares that against my content calendar, drafts replies, and gives me suggestions on how to handle each email. And all of that is done even if my computer is off. And that's because all bots have access to a computer in the cloud that's logged into all the tools you use. So routines will run even if your computer is off. If you want to set up a routine like this for yourself, it's very easy because you can just ask your bot to do it. To set up your own Scribe, again, click on the plus, click on new bot, and then create a new bot, and then tell it something like, your name is Scribe. You're going to handle all my emails for me. Scan through the last 2 weeks of emails to understand the types of emails I get and how I respond. Then look at the Notion page entitled CRM, where I'm tracking all my leads. From there, set up a routine so you draft replies to all the emails I receive every 2 hours during the day. Once you submit that, it will name itself Scribe, it will pull up the plugins that need to be added, and then set up a routine so it can handle your email inbox for you. The important thing here is that Scribe isn't responding to emails in a void. She has the full context of my business and can access the tools and resources needed to respond successfully. And all of that was set up with just a conversation. One thing I only briefly mentioned so far is that your bots will talk to each other. It's one of the coolest features of Grok Bot. You can put several bots in the same channel, give them one project, and watch them pass the work between themselves instead of asking you to approve each step. This is most obvious when you use a chief of staff or delegator bot because their whole job is literally to delegate work to other bots. You can see a good example of that here. I told Chief that I wanted her to come up with an idea for a YouTube video and put as much together as she can. So instead of doing that work herself, she first spoke to Seeker. Seeker is my researcher bot. She goes out and does research on trending topics, and she's able to see what kinds of topics would make good YouTube videos. So she pulled up a bunch of ideas, came back to Chief with those, and then Chief spoke to Hemingway. Hemingway is my scripter bot. It knows my tone of voice. It knows how I like to outline my YouTube videos. So then Hemingway put together the outlines for 3 different videos. And you can see that when Hemingway was finished, it actually messaged Chief. And we can click on this right here to see their exchange. I mean, look at all of this. This is a conversation back and forth between Chief and Hemingway that I'm not a part of at all. I had no idea that all of this was happening in the background, but that's how this works. They then sent the task over to Prism, who is my designer, and Prism came up with some ideas for YouTube thumbnails. And you can see here that Prism got this assignment directly from Hemingway. After he finished putting together the script, he then sent them over to Prism so that Prism could come up with the ideas for the thumbnails. And again, all of this was a conversation I was not a part of at all. It's absolutely wild. Let me return back to Seeker because I want to show you what else I use her for. I use this as my primary research bot. Grok Bot has an X plugin, so Seeker can monitor X 24/7 looking for video opportunities for my channel. If you're not a content creator, you can tell Seeker to monitor for important updates in your field. With that plugin, Grok Bot is the best tool I have found for monitoring X, which I'm sure as you know is where all the news breaks these days. But Seeker doesn't just stop at research. Once Seeker finds a good opportunity, it will send it over to MapMaker. And again, we can see that conversation happening right here. She found all of these different video topics, sent them over to MapMaker, and MapMaker is my brainstormer. It's going to determine whether that topic will be a good fit for my channel right now and what angle I might take. So the two of them together discuss back and forth all of these different trending topics that Seeker has found, and then MapMaker will determine if it's something it wants to bring to my attention. And if it does, and I approve the video, it will then send it over to Hemingway to outline the video. So for this workflow, I'm being kept in the loop. I'm still going to approve every video before it gets outlined, but all the back end stuff, all the rote research, that is all being done automatically. And all my bots are filtering out all the noise, so I only get what is most important. My favorite bot though is Concierge. Concierge makes me feel like I am some high-powered decamillionaire CEO because her entire purpose is to make my life more comfortable. She has access to my Google Calendar and checks it every morning. And then she does whatever it takes to make my life easier. For example, I have a bunch of dietary restrictions and sometimes I show up at a restaurant and I have no idea what to order. Well, the other day, she noticed that I had a reservation at a local restaurant for brunch. So she opened up her browser, looked at the menu, and worked with my fitness bot, Coach Cal, and together the two of them figured out some suggestions on what I should order. Is this something I could do for myself? Absolutely, but this saves me a little bit of mental bandwidth, and honestly, it's just nice. For example, I also go to physical therapy every week because I kind of messed up my shoulder recently, and my PT's office is right near Smoothie King. If Concierge sees physical therapy on my calendar, it will make sure that there is a smoothie waiting for me to pick up when I leave PT. I just gave it a list of flavors that I like, but I told it, don't tell me which one you're ordering that day, so it's always a surprise. A lot of this is possible because all of your bots have access to a computer in the cloud that's logged in to all the tools that you use. You can see the cloud computer by clicking on this computer icon on the top right. And if you open it up, you can see their computer. So we have down here the Chrome browser, it has a file manager, and it has terminal. So as long as you can do the task in a browser, your bot can do it for you. You don't need your laptop on because they all have access to a computer in the cloud that's logged in to the tools that you would use anyway. For this smoothie example, the first time I set this up, Concierge asked me to sign into DoorDash on the website. And then I took over the browser, logged in, put in my login information, and now Concierge has access to my DoorDash account so it can place those orders for me. The last bot I want to show you today is called Bob, the builder. And his job is to just build things for me. If I have ideas for apps or websites, that's his job. I've been doing a lot of vibe coding recently. I find it really neat to create personalized software. And it turns out Grok and Grok Bot are really good for vibe coding. What I've also done is given Bob a routine. So every month he looks through my website and updates it with the current information. So there's a lot of stuff here that can quickly get out of date, like the number of subscribers that I have, number of views on my channel, the latest videos that I have up here that are doing well, as well as some other stuff. So every month now, Bob updates all of that automatically for me. That's something I got very lazy about in the past. A lot of my website would be out of date, but now Bob makes sure that it's always current. This is another one of those things where I just had no idea if it was possible. So I asked Bob if he was able to do it, and he figured it out. He had me log in everywhere I needed to log in so that he can keep everything updated. Now, you may not have a website like I do, but there's surely something that you have to do on a routine every month or couple of months that you just don't want to have to worry about. And that's the perfect kind of task to outsource to a bot. Honestly, I feel like I'm just scratching the surface of what you can do with Grok Bot. Once you start thinking in terms of jobs instead of prompts or threads, there are a lot of directions you can take this in. Over here, for instance, is Atlas. This is my travel bot who monitors flights and hotel prices for me. I'm going to set up another one to optimize my credit card points because I have a ton of those just sitting there unused because I don't even know how to use them, but I'm going to put a bot on the job so it can figure it out. I have Hound here, who is my personal shopper. They're always looking around for the best deals for me. I have another one called Nightingale. She's shopping for health insurance for me, which is such a nightmare for me to do myself, so I've just given that job to a bot. The point is, there are a ton of possibilities with this if you get creative. In fact, I'm thinking about creating a second Grok Bot video where I talk entirely about unusual consumer use cases that help with your personal life instead of work tasks. If you want a video like that, let me know in the comments section down below. If you want to try Grok Bot, use the link at the top of the description and in the pinned comment. My recommendation is to start with one bot, give the bot a clear name, a specific role, and access to the websites and tools it needs to help you best. Once that works, add a second specialist, then a third, then a fourth. Then don't forget you can add them to a group chat and have them assign each other tasks. That's when Grok Bot starts to feel less like another AI tool and more like a team you can actually text and give work to. Thank you to SpaceX AI for sponsoring this video, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.